guys, Rob here from D&D Toy Reviews, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Sentinel Fighting Armor Deadpool. So let's get into it with...
accessories!
Alright, so the Merc with the mouth comes with quite a few accessories. We'll start off with his hands. You get the fisted hands that come on him in the package. We get a pair of sword-holding hands, one for each side. And the swords slip into those quite easily. Just a little bit of pressure and pop, in they go. Holds very well. Let's get some focus going on. The sword stays in there exceptionally well. It's not going to fall out when you're posing the figure. We get a couple of gun-holding hands and a couple of guns done in this beautiful, beautiful candy red. That is just absolutely gorgeous if it would focus. Although one thing I will point out, they have these weird little antennae on the top of the guns, and those I would think are pretty good at breakage hazard if you're not careful when you're putting pressure on the gun to get it in the holster, into the hand, or moving it around. So you want to be careful of those. Now, I don't know if it's going to focus, but we get a little Deadpool stamp on the handles of the guns. And those go into the hands just like so. And again, holds them very nicely. A little bit of wobble, but not enough that they're going to fall out. We get a couple of splayed repulsor blast hands, because this is based on the Iron Man fighting armor. And we get 4 of these little shuriken that are done up in just plain black plastic, no paint, nothing, but they look fine. And the shuriken peg onto these pegs here on his hips, and you can get 2 on each side. So those will store just fine and dandy. Though one thing I will say is they do tend to hinder the leg movement somewhat when you're moving out to the side, because they'll start bumping in. The guns just slide into these clip-on holsters. Now these, I will say these are a bit of an annoyance, because they just clip on, so it's very easy when you're posing the figure around to just pop it right out of place, or even pop it right off the leg. But to get the gun in, we just slide it down and in, and that's it. They just slide in, and the fit isn't super tight, so they will come out when you're moving the figure around if you're not careful. And on the back, we have this bit plugged into his back here that acts as the scabbards for the sword, and they just slide in like so, and it's a pretty secure fit, so they're not going to fall out when you're posing the figure around. And there he is, all armed up and ready to make some chimichangas. And let's move on to
Articulation!
Okay, so articulation-wise, since this is based on the fighting armor Iron Man, just like their Spider-Man and their Wolverine and Captain America, the articulation is pretty much the same as those other figures, though there is a bit of a hindrance with the gun and shurikens. And compared to the Wolverine, we get a little bit more shoulder movement, because you don't have those pads bumping into the sides here. So to start off with the head, we get the head on a hinge at the top of the neck that lets us go all the way up and a good bit down. And just like the other fighting armor figures, there's this bit that folds into the head when you're moving it around, so you don't break the sculpt up. Kind of looks like Rocketeer. At the bottom of the neck, we get another joint, so we can get some forward and back. You do get a little bit of wiggle-waggle to the sides as well. The shoulders have a butterfly joint, and we can go out to the side that far, all the way around, bicep swivel, double jointed elbow, and while the bicep isn't the most beautiful looking with that cut that they've put in there, it does allow for excellent range of motion. We get a swivel and a hinge at the wrist, so you can get it. So here you can see there's a ball joint that the hand pops onto, and then it swivels, and you can get it pivoted around however you like, although it is a bit tight to get it to swivel. We get a swivel and crunch at the top of the torso, one at the middle of the torso, and one at the base of the torso. I believe those are all ball joints. So we get excellent crunching forward and really far going back. And because of all the black paint on this guy, he doesn't want to show up very well. We get the same swivel and hinge for the hips, and the same drop down thigh like on the Wolverine that I reviewed. Now on my Wolverine, if you pull it down too far, you'll actually end up pulling the leg right off. And Sentinel seems to have addressed that. I'm not sure if it's a problem on Iron Man, Spider-Man, or Captain America. But on Deadpool here, they've added in a stopping point. So once you get to a certain point, that's it. It's not going to come off any further. With the thigh up, the range is a little bit limited. But if we drop the thigh, we can get all the way forward, all the way back, and all the way out to the side. Now, you can see here I don't have the gun on this side, and I do have it on this side. So when we have the gun in the holster, we can still get all the way forward and back, but when we start moving out to the side, the gun starts to hit the shuriken, and if we twist the shuriken a little bit, still, it's bumping in to the blades on the back of the gun. So that is a bit of a hindrance there, and something you might want to watch for. Again, when you're moving the leg around, don't put your thumb on that little antenna there on the gun. We get a thigh swivel, and we get double jointed knees. We get forward and back at the ankle. This flap will get up and out of the way so it doesn't hinder the articulation. We get an ankle rocker, although it does kind of skew the foot off to the side a little bit. And we get a toe. And just like the Wolverine that I reviewed before, this thing is absolutely gorgeous. The paintwork on it is stunning. It's got this beautiful candy red all over it. Silver highlights. We get some blue highlights on the leg, on the arm there, and the repulsor hands are painted with that same blue. The eyes are a little narrow looking for Deadpool, but you know, since it is an Iron Man armor, it's understandable that the eyes would look like Iron Man's eyes. And yeah, it's just an absolutely gorgeous figure. It's really fun to pose, although the hindrance on the hips there with the gun and the shurikens can be a little annoying when you're trying to get a really good action pose going on, but you can work around it. And oh yeah, I forgot to mention that it comes with this base. If you want to see how the base works, then check out my Wolverine review, and I go into pretty good detail on how the base works there.